The journey toward experiencing God's support and guidance is not a path reserved for saints and mystics alone, but a living reality available to every sincere seeker who turns their heart and mind toward the divine. Paramahansa Yogananda, one of the great spiritual luminaries of the 20th century, dedicated his life to showing humanity that God is not a distant, abstract concept dwelling in some far-off heaven, but an intimate, loving presence that surrounds us, sustains us, and seeks constantly to guide us toward our highest good. Through his teachings, writings, and the example of his own life, Yogananda revealed practical methods by which anyone, regardless of their background or circumstances, can establish a conscious connection with the divine and experience the tangible support and guidance that flows from that sacred relationship. Before we begin, if you enjoy this video, give me a like, comment below about your thought and hit subscribe button so you don't miss any video inspired by Yogananda's teaching. Thank you very much. At the heart of Yogananda's teachings lies the fundamental understanding that God is not separate from us but is the very essence of our being. We are not isolated fragments struggling alone in an indifferent universe, but individualized expressions of the infinite, waves upon the ocean of divine consciousness. This recognition transforms our entire approach to seeking God's guidance. We are not petitioning a distant monarch for favors, but rather learning to attune ourselves to the wisdom and love that already dwells within us as our truest nature. The challenge is not to create a connection with God, but to remove the obstacles that prevent us from experiencing the connection that has always existed. The primary obstacle to experiencing God's support and guidance is the restless, distracted nature of the human mind. Yogananda often compared the mind to a lake whose surface is constantly disturbed by waves of thoughts, emotions, desires, and fears. When the water is turbulent, it cannot reflect the moon clearly. Similarly, when our consciousness is agitated by mental restlessness, we cannot perceive the divine presence that seeks to guide us. This is why Yogananda placed such tremendous emphasis on the practice of meditation as the essential foundation for experiencing God's guidance. Through regular, deep meditation, we learn to still the waves of mental activity and create the inner silence in which God's voice can be heard. Meditation, as taught by Yogananda, is not merely a relaxation technique or a method for reducing stress, though these benefits naturally follow. It is a scientific technique for withdrawing our attention from the outer world and the ceaseless chatter of the mind, and directing it inward toward the divine presence at the core of our being. When we sit in meditation with devotion and concentration, following the specific techniques that Yogananda taught, we begin to experience states of inner peace and clarity that transcend our ordinary consciousness. In these elevated states, we become receptive to the subtle guidance that God is always offering but that we usually cannot perceive amid the noise of daily life. The practice of meditation must be approached with both regularity and depth. Yogananda emphasized that sporadic or superficial meditation yields only superficial results. To truly experience God's support and guidance, we must commit ourselves to daily practice, ideally both in the morning and evening, and we must strive to go deep in our meditation rather than remaining on the surface. This means not being satisfied with a few minutes of restless sitting, but persevering until we break through the initial resistance of the mind and enter into genuine stillness and inner communion. It is in these deeper states of meditation that we begin to experience God not as a concept or belief, but as a living reality, a presence of infinite love, wisdom, and peace that responds to our sincere seeking. Beyond the formal practice of meditation, Yogananda taught that we must cultivate an attitude of constant remembrance of God throughout our daily activities. This practice, often called practicing the presence of God, involves maintaining an underlying awareness of the divine even as we engage in our worldly duties and responsibilities. We can silently repeat a mantra or affirmation, offer our actions to God, or simply maintain a feeling of devotion in our hearts as we go about our day. This continuous remembrance gradually transforms our consciousness, making us increasingly sensitive to God's guidance in every situation we encounter. Prayer plays a vital role in experiencing God's support and guidance, but Yogananda taught a specific approach to prayer that differs from the common understanding. Rather than merely asking God for things we want or need, we should pray with deep concentration and faith, visualizing and feeling that our prayers are already answered. We should pray not with doubt or desperation, but with the confident expectation that comes from knowing that God loves us infinitely and desires our highest good even more than we desire it ourselves. Yogananda taught that such prayers, offered with intensity and faith, create a powerful spiritual magnetism that draws God's response. Equally important is the practice of listening prayer, in which we quiet our minds after praying and remain receptive to any guidance, inspiration, or intuitive feeling that may arise. God's guidance often comes not as a thundering voice from the heavens, but as a subtle intuition, a quiet knowing, or a sense of peace about a particular course of action. By cultivating inner stillness and receptivity, we learn to recognize and trust these gentle promptings of divine guidance. Yogananda also emphasized the importance of developing discrimination and intuition as means of receiving God's guidance. Discrimination is the faculty of wisdom that allows us to distinguish between what is real and unreal, eternal and temporary, beneficial and harmful. Through meditation and spiritual study, we sharpen this faculty and become better able to make choices that align with our highest good. Intuition is the soul's ability to know truth directly, without the intermediary of reason or sensory perception. As we deepen our spiritual practice, our intuitive faculty awakens and strengthens, allowing us to receive clear guidance from within about the decisions and challenges we face. The cultivation of devotion is another essential element in experiencing God's support and guidance. Yogananda taught that love is the most powerful force in the universe and the quickest path to God. When we approach the divine with deep love and devotion, our hearts open and we become receptive to the flow of divine grace. This devotion need not be expressed in any particular religious form. What matters is the sincerity and intensity of our love for God. Whether we think of the divine as Father, Mother, friend, beloved, or formless spirit, the key is to cultivate a personal, loving relationship with that presence. Yogananda often spoke of the importance of testing God, not in a spirit of doubt, but in a spirit of scientific inquiry and sincere seeking. He encouraged his students to make demands on God, to pray intensely for guidance or help in specific situations, and then to observe how that guidance comes. Through such experiments in prayer and faith, we develop first-hand experience of God's responsiveness and learn to recognize the various ways in which divine support manifests in our lives. This experiential knowledge is far more powerful than any amount of theoretical understanding. Living in harmony with spiritual principles is also crucial for experiencing God's guidance. When our lives are characterized by truthfulness, non-injury, self-control, and service to others, we create the conditions in which divine guidance can flow freely. Conversely, when we engage in harmful behaviors or violate our conscience, we create static in our spiritual reception and make it difficult to perceive God's guidance clearly. Yogananda taught that right living is not merely a matter of following external rules, but of aligning ourselves with the universal laws that govern spiritual growth and well-being. The practice of surrendering our will to God's will is perhaps one of the most challenging yet most transformative aspects of experiencing divine guidance. This does not mean becoming passive or abdicating our responsibility to make choices and take action. Rather, it means offering our plans, desires, and efforts to God, and remaining open to the possibility that divine wisdom may guide us in directions different from what we initially envisioned. It means trusting that God's plan for us is ultimately better than anything we could devise for ourselves, even when circumstances seem difficult or confusing. Yogananda taught that God's support often comes through the people and circumstances that enter our lives. A chance meeting, an unexpected opportunity, a book that falls into our hands at just the right moment. These may all be instruments of divine guidance. By remaining alert and receptive, we learn to recognize these synchronicities and to see the hand of God working through the events of our lives. This recognition fills us with gratitude and deepens our faith in God's constant care. The company we keep and the influences we allow into our consciousness also affect our ability to receive God's guidance. Yogananda emphasized the importance of spiritual friendship and association with others who are sincerely seeking God. Such company uplifts our consciousness and reinforces our spiritual aspirations. Similarly, we should be mindful of the books we read, the entertainment we consume, and the conversations we engage in, choosing those that elevate rather than degrade our awareness. Patience and perseverance are essential virtues on the path to experiencing God's support and guidance. Spiritual growth unfolds according to its own timeline, which may not match our expectations or desires. There may be periods when we feel God's presence strongly and receive clear guidance, and other times when we seem to be walking in darkness without any sense of divine support. Yogananda taught that these apparent dry periods are often times of testing and strengthening, during which our faith deepens and our spiritual muscles grow stronger. The key is to continue our practices faithfully, trusting that God is always with us even when we cannot feel that presence. Ultimately, experiencing God's support and guidance is not about achieving some extraordinary mystical state or receiving dramatic revelations, though these may occasionally occur. It is about developing an ongoing, intimate relationship with the divine that permeates every aspect of our lives. It is about learning to see God in all things, to feel God's love in our hearts, and to trust God's wisdom in our decisions. It is about recognizing that we are never alone, never unsupported, never without guidance, because the infinite intelligence and love that created us is always present, always caring, always seeking to lead us toward our highest fulfillment. Through the practices and principles that Yogananda taught, meditation, prayer, devotion, right living, discrimination, and surrender, we can transform our relationship with the divine from an abstract belief into a living reality. We can experience for ourselves the truth that God is not distant or indifferent, but intimately involved in our lives, supporting us through every challenge, guiding us through every decision, and leading us ever closer to the ultimate goal of union with the infinite. This is not a promise for some distant future, but a possibility available here and now to all who sincerely seek it with patience, faith, and unwavering devotion.